So can you explain the changes that council made Monday to the city's noise ordinance?
Yes, sure. We made 2 changes to the noise ordinance. The noise ordinance carried an exemption provision that said that any noises that were party or social gathering related would be covered under disorderly conduct. But when you look at state code says that those types of citations under disorderly conduct must be criminal. So we removed that exemption and allowed party-type noises to fall under the prohibited noises ordinance. That is a civil ordinance in our code. And then what we did was we took a subsection of that ordinance that said that noises that occurred in the public right-of-way or on public property that rose to a level significant enough to disturb the peace and quiet of the neighborhood could merit a civil citation under the code. We broadened the scope of where those noises could arise from, so it can be public right-of-ways, public property like parks, or private property to cover a social gathering. The end result, when you remove the exemption and broaden the scope, is that the police now have a pathway to issue civil citations for noise violations that really stem more from like social gatherings, parties, get-togethers, things like that.
Okay. And why the need to have the option for a civil citation as opposed to pursuing, I guess, a criminal charge?
It just gives another tool in the enforcement toolbox for police, and it gives sort of a tiered structure. If something is loud enough that it's disturbing a neighbor, but it's not really rising to a criminal level or a criminal charge, this allows police to issue a civil citation. With civil citations, we can impose monetary fines, but the person doesn't have a criminal citation on their record. With a civil citation, we can also obtain court orders restricting the type or level of noise that a person can make moving forward. And we can also offer community service to work off the monetary fines that are issued as well. So when something doesn't rise to a criminal level, it just gives a whole nother layer that the police can use that often in many people's eyes has a less serious or significant consequence.
And then what about businesses? Would they fall under this?
They could, although we do have other ordinances that might likely affect them too. For instance, we have an ordinance that regulates the times of day and the volume on outdoor speakers that a business might have. So typically, if police are running into a problem, they try to use the most specifically tailored ordinance for that problem. So for instance, if you are a restaurant on Main Street with outdoor speakers that you play while people are waiting for tables or something, if that noise level became problematic and it could not be resolved without a citation, it's more likely that the police would use that ordinance that specifically fits, but they certainly could use the noise ordinance. Or if, say, a business was having a grand opening party and the noise level rose to the point where neighbors were complaining, it would be an option in that scenario too. But more often than not, where we see these situations arise are social gatherings, more like private. When I say private, I mean a private individual's party, like a party in a home or a picnic in a park that goes on late enough into the night that the noise from it might disturb the neighboring people nearby.